Hello, ladies and gentlemen. We are back again with a short and sweet stream for tonight. We will be playing 5 minute blitz game today, and I hope it will be a fun one. Let's have a counter for the blunder. Let's count the blunder too. Let's start the game. Mr. Khatri begins to play with white pieces. It's a fairly simple game with the knights opening in the early. Here, oh my god, the pawn pushed, keeping the knight on the pin there on c6. Bishop come forward on the other hand to break the pin, but Mr. Khatri doesn't seem to care about that. Khatri wants to pin the other knight as well. He is looking into some pin and win business here, but not for now, not for now, Mr. Khatri. What we are seeing here is an identical position from both sides of this chessboard. For now, the knight has attacked the bishop, but bishop doesn't seem to care, but because the queen has been protecting it very in a very perfect manner. Khatri goes for it. Khatri is all in here. Khatri goes for the queen exchange, and after a little bit of lag, what we see here is we don't have any queen on the board. The position is fairly equal here, but Khatri has more central control, but I don't think having a central control is worth much in this position where you don't have pretty much all of your pieces you don't have. You have only pawns and the rooks. So I don't think the central control is much of worth it, but Khatri goes for it. Anyways, having the central squares is always helpful, I think. Now Khatri can trap the pawn here. Khatri is complaining of some mouse slip, but yeah, we consider that as an excuse only. We don't see that as a valid reason to play a blunder move. I don't understand the reason behind moving the rook to e6, but anyways, Mr. Black has done it. And he retreats his rook after the pawn on f5 had pushed it. Now Khatri is going all in. Khatri must centralize his queen 2 as well in this endgame to capitalize upon his pieces. In terms of points, both of the teams are equal, but Khatri has a better pawn position here because of the central square control. The rooks are well connected. Mr. Black doesn't have connected rooks. Now the rooks are connected. This game might take an interesting route from here. Khatri must push his rook on f4. Yes, he does push it and protects the pawn from two sides. Now, does Khatri have any proper response for this move? Because every move seems to be a two-edged sword for Mr. Khatri, and the pawn on e4 has been a weakness for Mr. Khatri. He must calculate his position well. He has a good 2.5 minute time here. He must calculate every of his results that can be here. The outcome must calculate it, must precisely go for the move. After this exchange, Khatri will be down by half point. Is rook exchange a good option for Mr. Khatri? I don't have any opinion because I'm not calculating the position, but Khatri is, and he doesn't think that the exchange was good one. Khatri avoids the exchange. Now Khatri wants to maneuver his rook, but he holds for a minute and goes for the pawn push. Now the other pawn must take. Yes, it does take. And Khatri has now connected his rooks on the c file. Can he create some attack in this position? I don't think protecting by going into the c5 square is a good option because after the pawn push on b6, what is your response, Mr. Khatri? I don't understand this. Well, this has been a complex position, I must say. Khatri is trying to create a passer one, but Khatri isn't able to do so because the pawn on c4 has also been captured by the rook. Now Khatri goes for rook exchange. Will Mr. Black accept the rook exchange offer? No, he doesn't accept it. Now Khatri is trying for pawn push on h file and also f file, but will he be able to do so? On the other hand, Mr. Black has two passer pawns here. He can easily move to the way of his glory. Will Mr. Black go for an exchange? No, not for now, not for now. Can Khatri find the perpetual here? This is the chance of draw, Mr. Khatri, if he can find this. This is a perpetual here. If Khatri missed it. Khatri missed it. I think draw was a good option for Mr. Khatri, but Khatri doesn't want it yet. Oh my god. Khatri had a chance of draw there, but there's no chance from this position because Mr. Black has more than more than four pawns at the then moment. Khatri is again complaining of mouse slip, but we will, ladies and gentlemen, count that as an invalid excuse. Khatri must have went for that. Khatri should have went for that draw, but Khatri didn't find that a very good thing to do, and now Khatri is regretting for a loss, I believe. There's no chance for Mr. Khatri to win from this position. He is also losing in terms of time. He is behind by more than a minute. Less than 15 seconds remaining for Mr. Khatri, and he is not able to find the best move in this position. He is perhaps going for repetitive moves, anticipating for some sort of uh, repetition, draw by repetition, but I don't think that is a very plausible thing in this position. Khatri should have given a check. Khatri must go for a perpetual here if it is possible. Okay, Khatri goes for it, but I don't think this will last for a longer period because Qatari is losing in terms of time. Qatari lost. I suggest Mr. Khatri to not panic, but yes, to make his moves promptly with a better intuitive play. I think thinking about this uh, game season, England, but seems very fancy, isn't it? Khatri is already he is ready to castle in the king's side. Now Khatri is threatening to take the knight of Mr. Black. Will Mr. Black sacrifices? Not yet, not yet. Khatri is playing this game very aggressively. Look at this early queen movement. Will this be a fruitful one for Mr. Khatri? We'll have to see. And Khatri missed. That's definitely more slip, Mr. Khatri. We accept that you must move very sensibly here. You might you might want to use the touchpad if your mouse is not working properly. Khatri goes for stab defense, slab defense in this game. Okay, Khatri is trying to imitate Mr. Ajit Singh in this very position of the game because he is trying to fix his mouse and sadly he's not able to do that in this game. And the other unfortunate thing is Khatri doesn't have anyone to score that somebody to fix this mouse. So we must appreciate Khatri's patience. He is playing with a broken one. I suggest him to play with mousepad if that is a feasible one for him. Talking about this game, we had Slav defense to open with, later followed by modern three-knight variation. Let's see what happens in this game. Obviously, this position is also unfamiliar to us. Now Khatri wants to exchange the knight. Will he be able to exchange it? Will Mr. White be interested? Will give the hint of any interest in this exchange? Not for now, I think. Yes, he does give the hint. The exchange and goes all in for the exchange. I must say, Khatri is really moving his pieces promptly and intuitively in this game, which is really, um, which is worth appreciating, I must say. That was a fork from Mr. White. The pawn will eventually lead the way to glory for Mr. White, I think, because in this position the pawn is already leading with 2 points after the following moves, I think. Khatri should exchange here. Now Khatri is taking more time after I appreciated him for that prompt moves. After that appreciation, Khatri seems to be spoiled of appreciation. Khatri is losing by 2 points. might turn into a losing something that depends on 2 points worth of this crazy layout. So yeah, I think it is alright. Yes, it is alright now. Oh, I missed a lot of things like scenes and everything. I missed it due to the frame freeze. Anyways, moving on with this game, Khatri is able to compensate 1 point worth of disadvantage. Only 1 point of loss remains for Mr. Khatri, but does Khatri have an good response against this attack? This is an aggressive attack, I must say. Can Mr. White spot that attack on b2 square? That is an skewer from from Queen. Will Khatri go? Oh, that is a mate in one. Khatri must be aware of the fact that he should. Yes, he is aware of the fact and he quickly abstained from that position. Now Mr. White has a piece more, but Khatri has two passer pawns, which can be really powerful later in this game. Now the knight is trying to maneuver through the corners of the position. Okay, Mr. White is trying to go all in for a mate, but I don't think that's an easy one. See, ladies and gentlemen, that was a witnessed. Mr. Khatri tries to counterattack the rook. I think he is taking a bit of time here, but long after a long time of taking the decision, he goes for will Khatri give a check here? That will be an interesting one because the check doesn't help. Okay, I thought my mic is muted, but that wasn't. So 3 of mate wonders. The ominosity lurks around the king on Z8 square. Khatri must be able to answer every question asked by Mr. White in this challenging and complex position. Now both of the players are going for take and take, as the Hikaru says. Okay, Mr. White was able to take the pawn on c5. Now it would be interesting if Khatri is able to capture, Khatri is able to mark his way towards the glory from a d5, but I don't think Khatri will be able to make queen out of his pawn because he is yet again lacking in terms of time in this very position as well. Time and again we will have to remind Khatri of the time constraints, but now I think Khatri has found himself and perpetual and he eventually went for a draw. That was it for this game. It ended in a perpetual repetition draw. I think that was a very fruitful one for Mr. Khatri because he is now able to learn the importance of time. If he had more time, he could have won that match because he founded himself a good position of the perpetual check. Now in this game we had bishop opening, followed by something fancy variation, which I'm not able to read on the screen. Again, Khatri is taking a bit of time here. The pawn on h5 has been a real desperate one, moving 2 squares at a time. I don't know if the pawn is in some kind of mission or something. That is a pin indeed, but that will be immediately withdrawn from. Khatri will withdraw from that pin immediately after this kick out of the bishop will be successful. Oh no, Mr. Black goes for a counter attack, but I think Black missed that. The pawn was protecting the bishop and the pawn moved. It was free for the queen to take. So for now, Khatri is leading with 3 points in this position. Now Khatri wants to attack the queen. Will this be a very a plausible move to make? Only the fallout can tell us if that is a plausible one. But Khatri might create some sort of discovery attack here. But not for now, not for now. Yes, both of the players were all in for the queen exchange. They go for it. In this very position, Khatri has enable central control with the knight, with the bishop. Both of the bishops are pretty active for Mr. Khatri. However, Mr. Black hasn't been able to capitalize upon his knight on h6, which has been an inactive one so far. In this endgame, both of the players have been able to connect their rooks, but the tuning, the coordination between the pieces hasn't been an ideal one for both of the players in this very game. Khatri is anticipating some sort of exchange, but I don't think exchange is a very feasible move to make here. A question of the bishop has been asked by Mr. Black, but Khatri goes for something counter attack, if you can refer it as a counter-attack. Now the knight has been active by Mr. Black, residing on c4. It controls a lot of squares. Oh my god. The bishop immediately steps forward to control the attack squares by Mr. Knight. Now I think the king will be moved to attack the knight. Khatri is calculating his position here, but one thing that we can appreciate Mr. Khatri for is time management in this very game. He has been able to make moves very promptly. Now Khatri has been able to control the knight on b5 by making it inactive because it controls the square. The bishop controls the square. Bishop controls the square that the knight has been controlling. So it is good for Mr. Khatri. Good central control. The rooks are connected. The pawn chain has been a weakness for both of the teams in this game. Khatri is now trying to create some pass-up pawns, but is that this simple? It isn't, obviously. The knight must now maneuver through the corners of the board. Will Khatri take this the pawn? The exchange was offered by Mr. Black, and Khatri is in a great dilemma of whether he should take that or not. Now Khatri goes all in with his bishop, controlling the leading diagonal. The bishop has been a very, very powerful, ladies and gentlemen. Now Khatri will be able to create pass the pawn, I guess, on g5 or perhaps h5. No, Khatri is again interested in attacking. Now Khatri will have a pass pawn there, ladies and gentlemen. A good news, sign of hope for Mr. Khatri, but he missed that fork. And Khatri will lose his rook now. Khatri, it is an equal position in terms of the points now. Will Khatri be able to capitalize upon his pass pawn here? Okay, the bishop. Wow, what a great position is this for Mr. White, because the pawn protects the bishop protects the pawn. If the rook takes the pawn, the bishop takes. If the rook takes the bishop, the pawn takes. Wow, it is a good one, Mr. Khatri. And the rook is immediately kicked away by Mr. Bishop. The rook must calculate its way very, very precisely. Now Khatri is all prepared to move his pawn towards the way of glory. I think Khatri will be able to go now. It seems a fairly easy win for Mr. Khatri, but we know his background. He is a master in choking, but I don't think that's something that we'll witness in this game. Yes, Khatri is winning in this position now. The chance of a check there if the bishop was interested to move the light square bishop was not interested in fact. 4 seconds remaining for Mr. Black, less than 2 seconds for Mr. Black, and I think Black will lose in time. That's the disadvantage of the 5-minute game, but you want to make the moves, but you are not able to make your creative moves due to time bound. Must appreciate Khatri for that time management. Will Khatri go for a karaoke? No, he goes for a very creative game here. He wants to open up the place for Mr. Rooks. It is the weird defense that we call it, opening up the pawns of Mr. Rooks. We perhaps won't be able to see the Rooks in the in-game in this game, but I don't think this will go in a typical manner because Khatri is always known to play a creative game, a choke in the middle, and so some creative blunders. After the blunders made by Mr. Khatri, we we have the fathom that we can do blunders in such a manner as well. That's a real interesting part of Mr. Khatri. We must appreciate that. In this very position, after 9 moves have been made, both of the teams and both of the players are doing fairly good in terms of time. Khatri is still Khatri remains to move his bishop, the light square bishop. C6, the knight was attacked by the queen. However, it was well protected by the other pawn. Now we have some issue here because it is the check that we see, and is it a two-way check? No, it isn't two-way check, but I don't know what's the problem with defending with the light square bishop. Khatri isn't able to find the right move here. Oh, this is a losing position for Mr. Khatri, I must say. Nothing happens after that. Bishop takes. Perhaps later today. Oh, Khatri spots a fork there. Okay, now Khatri can take the queen. But anyways, the threat on the threat on king hasn't been changed yet. Now Khatri can start to give the checks. Khatri is trying to find the best fit for him. And the frame drop, I am able to listen to audio only. Okay, Khatri, if you can hear me, I am experiencing a frame fill. No, sir. It's like some sort of. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, after experiencing some sort of extreme lag, I am back again just to exchange. Okay, after that exchange, Khatri was all in for the Rook exchange as well. Yes, they go for the Rook exchange, and now Khatri is winning obviously with Knight. The best move for Mr. White was to resign, yes, and he does resign here. And ladies and gentlemen, that was the last game for today. Thank you. Thank you for staying with us in this stream, and we appreciate you viewing this. We are just trying to have some fun. Uh, okay, good night.